Abuse can happen in any neighborhood at any time. It does not discriminate against age, race, or education. At the Women's Center of Greater Danbury, we understand this, and we are dedicated to helping and providing for those in need. Feeling safe should not be a privilege. It is your right.
I was a very happy teenager, and I had a really good relationship with my parents, and I wanted to start dating. I really didn't notice that things were starting to be a little off. It started to become unsafe as well, and I was unfortunately a part of an abusive relationship. That's when my experience with the Women's Center began.
A kernel of an idea was starting to blossom, and women found the Women's Center for domestic violence, sexual assault, and it was the safest place anybody could go.
Women needed a place where they could get together and talk about the kinds of things that all of us, all women, were not aware of at the time, but those of us who were needed a place to be with other women.
Our mission is to serve the needs of individuals, families, and the community with crisis intervention, primary prevention, and education and support services throughout our 13-town area. No other nonprofit organization or for-profit organization in the greater Danbury, greater New Milford areas offer the specialized certified services that we provide.
People come here in real distress, and they've either experienced domestic violence or sexual assault. Help them figure out, what are their resources, what are their support systems, what are their coping skills, what's working for them, what's gotten them through tough times in the past, help them connect with those support systems and move forward.
They have a 24/7 hotline, so they offer emergency services which are life-saving. They try to change patterns of behavior by educating our youth.
And our prevention educators focus on working with youth in the community, primarily through local schools, but also other youth organizations. We utilize puppets for younger students, pre-K through first or second grade, to tell stories to the children. We can still prevent sexual assault and sexual abuse, but do it in a way that's really age appropriate.
The Women's Center was doing some of their education programs in my high school. The counselor who had come in did not let me slip under the radar, and once I had opened up to her about things that had happened to me in the past, my whole life changed for the better.
If a student goes to the police, the hospital, to an RA or an RD in a residence hall, one of the first calls will go to the Women's Center, and there's support from the moment that we learn about an incident that's taken place.
There really isn't anyone that we can't serve, and that is our obligation and duty to serve every victim of family violence in Connecticut.
The Women's Center services probably approximately 27,000 people a year, and we certainly have our share of that 27,000. That's what I think the residents of people need to realize. The Women's Center is there for those people who need them, and we appreciate that.
We are there 24/7, providing our free, confidential, and critically needed services.
And that level of service is provided through communications, through transparency, and cooperation.
We in the City of Danbury are committed to helping the Women's Center fulfill its mission in any way that we can. They do a wonderful job for all of our residents.
We typically need them at a moment's notice here within usually the four walls of the hospital or the ED. They're the prototypical example of a first-rate not-for-profit organization.
We self-generate nearly 50% of our operating budget. So it's very, very important as we grow as an organization that we also have the resources and the capacity to sustain that.
We have three components to our campaign. The first is Enhance, which is to enhance our education and counseling departments.
If we had more money, we could hire more people, which would mean we would reach more students, 15,000, 20,000 more students than we already reach.
Our second pillar is to build. We need to build a new shelter.
shelter that's in place now, I think, is a 19th century home. It's time for an upgrade. It's time for a more modern facility, a secure facility, a discreet facility.
Rooms where a single woman might have to share with another woman and her child because we don't have enough space. That shouldn't happen, and that's what we want. We don't want that to happen. We want counseling on site.
It would be wonderful to have a place that was more accessible, that was handicap accessible, that had a yard for the kids to play in.
Children shouldn't have to be contained in the house like that. They should be able to go to a playground right outside their backyard where they can actually be kids.
And then finally to grow, which is grow our endowment and also grow the salary for our staff so that they're at a livable wage.
That doesn't happen, though, without people really digging deep and finding ways to make a significant contribution and a significant difference to the Women's Center.
If the center is going to expand and enhance its advocacy, its outreach, its education program, a funding stream that's really significant is needed in order for that to happen.
I mean, we provide help and service to anybody who comes in and asks for it, free.
I think we have an obligation to our community. And I think those of us who are fortunate enough to not need the services of the Women's Center, yes, we should be generous to help those who do need the services.
Keeping the Women's Center around is in the best interest of everyone in the community.
We need to speak up and speak out together. We can only do that if we have community support.
If somebody who's in a horrible situation may make that final phone call to the Women's Center to be able to get themselves out of the situation and get them into a happier, healthier lifestyle, and for that we can all be proud of.
The more backing they get and the more support they get from the community, the more they can grow. And maybe, just maybe, in time, we can actually break this cycle of violence.
I'm Mayor Mark Boughton.
I'm Pam Chapman.
I'm Kathryn Jones.
And I am.
And I am.
And I am the Women's Center.
And I am the Women's Center of Greater Danbury.
I'm Jessica Solomon, and I am the Women's Center of Greater Danbury.